Well, it's been a hell of a series so far. Alliance and Na'Vi splitting it 1-1 to bring us now to Game 3. Game 1, Alliance held the course, able to weather the storm Na'Vi brought to bear, managed to get a win there. Game 2, though, Na'Vi was having none of it. Just flat out ran them over, was in control from the moment the game started and never looked back. And now looking for overall payback as Alliance did down them in a best-of-1 played in Dream League earlier today. They'd certainly like to walk away with a win right here and right now. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, and joined for commentary and analysis once again by Trouf Dota. And Trouf, it's been a hell of a fun series to watch, and can't wait to see what these two teams have for us here in Game 3.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. Last game was pretty fun. Unfortunately, with the technical difficulties of Game 1, I still had fun watching it. So Game 3, the culminating game here. Mirana and Naga here picked up for Na'Vi. I'm very curious to see how they run the Naga. I'm leaning towards they might run it more as a 4 instead of a 2 in mid. I don't know if Dendi has played this very recently or if he's comfortable with it. I'm sure he's comfortable with it, but at the very least, I'm not sure if he's played it that often. But that'll be interesting to see. Batrider Chen here coming out for Alliance, so we get to see some Ake Chen.
5 seconds.
Yep, always love to see Ake Chen. And tell you the truth, if there's a Chen involved in the game with both of these teams playing, it's going to be a phenomenal Chen. And Puppy certainly showed that to us before as well, even though that game didn't go their way. Still saw just how good he is on the hero. I really like what Na'Vi has opened up with the Mirana and Naga Siren. We talked about it in previous games, just how wide open the Mirana happens to be in particular. And this is, again, just looking ahead as we get closer and closer to the big tournament season coming up, and we're already beginning to see glimmers of it with ESL and, of course, TI looming over the horizon. I think more teams are going to begin to prioritize picks like Mirana, like Naga Siren, just because it's impossible to know where they're going to end up running them. Batrider still has some options available to him, but once you see a Batrider Chen, it's pretty clear what's going to be going down. At best, you'll see Batrider maybe wind up in mid, even though he isn't all that common in that position anymore. But yeah, both teams, for the most part, still certainly wide open in what playstyle they want to draft for. But I'm curious. I really want to see how Na'Vi ends up running the Naga Siren in particular.
Yeah, me too. And you mentioned perhaps the bat mid. We don't see it that often. But actually, from one of the teams that does play it more often than others is Alliance, because S4 plays it so well in mid. So still a very good possibility. We did see Admiral Bulldog play it last game and had some great pickoffs despite them losing that game on the Batrider. And one of the other things, too, is Naga Siren, whether she's played as a more of a core or a support here, it's also a good tool against a Batrider initiation. If you're very, very fast with that Naga sleep and you're in range, it kind of nullifies the whole effect of a Batrider being able to lasso. It comes into play more often in like defense or like base pushing and defense that way, but it's still a nice tool to have overall against the Batrider.
There's the Rubik pickup, and it still doesn't tell us a lot except Kuro will be on the Rubik. And, you know, it's something he was known for. And just because Rubik fell off a bit as a pick in general, I mean, he's still fairly commonly picked support. I would argue tier 1, tier 2 status somewhere in there. But Kuro's Rubik is still one of the best in the world. And anytime they can get him on that hero, anytime they feel like it's a justifiable pick, they will decide to run with it. Alliance, though, is going to grab Io again. So we saw their success with that plus Tiny in Game 1. We'll see if they want to get Loda right back on that same combination. I want to see if Na'Vi ends up picking an Enigma here. Now, in terms of what they want to do, you know you're up against the jungler in Chen. That's going to allow you to play a little greedy if you want to do so. They're going to get the tree instead, so that shuts that down. And I had a really, really nice point to make, but they picked too quick. Thanks, Na'Vi. Appreciate it, jerks. I was going to say you could actually overlap Black Hole with Naga Sleep. It's one of the few abilities that you can reliably do that with, and you can do the same thing with Mirana's Arrow, because the whole arrow counts as a hitbox. And even if it's not timed perfectly, even if it's already technically passed, or at least visually past the target, so long as even a small amount of the arrow is still hovering over the target, when you disengage the sleep, it will count as a very long duration stun. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Well, yeah, and if you time it perfectly, you can arrow people before they even get their BKB off if they have it.
Yep, exactly.
So that's a very strong tool, and that's also one thing we've been seeing a lot. It's just Naga Siren and Mirana picked up together, because they do work so nicely together with the sleep plus arrow. Not even if you don't even have a sleep, you can also just use the ensnare plus arrow. But it does look like this is going to be a core Naga with a Treant Protector here. Although, it is Na'Vi. They could do something crazy like an offlane Treant Protector or something. I've seen it before, but I'm very interested in why Alliance picked up Io here. Naga is thought of as a pretty decent counter to Wisp teleports.
Yep.
Treant's also good in that regard as well, as Treant was picked pretty quickly right after the IO. just simply because it keeps them in place once if they decide to pour it in and be aggressive on you.
Right.
Obviously, Wisp has other other reasons to be picked outside of just the teleport spell, but that's kind of what makes the hero, such a signature type hero. And Storm Spirit picked up here for Alliance.
So, looks to take shape about the way we would have expected it to. Chen will be in the jungle, Bat in the off lane. Storm most likely going to end up being run mid, and now it's just a question of who they want to grab up to go with the IO. And certainly tons of options available. CK is there. Tiny, which we've already seen Alliance has no problem running. And Na'Vi actually banned the Riki last time they saw an IO pick up from Alliance. So that's an option they consider on the table as well. This time, though, just getting rid of the Luna. And for Na'Vi, I mean, again, you look at how they want to run this, but you never know. Like, it's still a very ambiguous lineup. You can do weird things with the Treant Protector. You can just mess up your lanes entirely. Run weird tri-lanes, you can run weird duo lanes just because of what he's going to give you to help out in other situations. So still looking to figure out what they want to do with this last pick.
Yeah, I really like Na'Vi's lineup so far. It's got a lot of tools for everything. Like Rubik is, and you were mentioning Rubik. I don't know why people don't pick him up more. I feel like this hero is just always been good and never been bad, or never been even mediocre. I just feel like in the right hands especially, even if you have crappy spells to steal, it's still extra spells that you can steal and use against the other team. And the lift is always going to be good, I think, from start to finish. It's going to be good here if you want to smoke gank the Storm early on, lift him up before he hits that level 6.
Right.
It's good late game when you want to lift him up before he gets to BKB. So, yeah, I'm a... And Queen of Pain last picked up here by... Na'Vi. We saw what Dendi did in mid.
Oh, yeah.
As Queen of Pain against EG, and that was not fun if you're on the receiving end of Dendi's Queen of Pain.
No joke, man. One thing that does stand out, and I don't know that they're going to do it, but seeing the Chen pick up as early as they did, they could end up trying to put some aggression on Alliance, especially with an IO as the other pick out. You see a Chen and an IO, if they, that's going to be a defensive tri-lane. And you're going to have a chance to be bullies in that situation. And you can put just about anyone at the front of that. However, Rubik and Mirana makes the most sense. Telekinesis to set up an arrow, very effective. Treant is going to give you the lead seed to pursue if you really want to. And they're just going to go right back to the Tiny. And Tiny, and this is something you kind of touched on in game 1, the hero's excellent at a lot of things and being caught by, if you catch 2 or 3 heroes with an early game avalanche toss, it's nasty, but he has severe mana problems. He'll have the IO to help with that a little bit, but he is easy to push around if you have the right tools. And then you could do something like solo safe lane farm the Naga, which helps her tremendously. And it's actually going to be Funnick on the Naga. Havos will be playing the Mirana on the 1. And yeah, I want to see... it's so hard to call. I think they could get aggressive here, and I think they have a really nice chance to disjoin Alliance. It's just a matter of what they feel like their early game goals are going to be.
Yeah, they could get aggressive here. They could do something even weird, as you mentioned, like Rubik, Mirana, Treant, aggressive with a solo short Naga. And Funny like playing the Naga here. But again, they have a lot of options. I kind of fear for Alliance. Like I'm actually favoring definitely Na'Vi's lineup here, and they just have so many tools now, especially against Tiny's last pick here. Every hero on Na'Vi has like multiple ways to either kite him or stun him or keep him from moving around. And if you're stopping the Tiny from moving around or stunning him or slowing him, that hero is honestly not too effective. So as far as item builds for Loda here, I'm sure Loda's gonna be playing it. Yeah, he is. I think BKB is definitely going to have to come out sometime in the mid game. And I think for Alliance, their game plan is they need to push down towers fast and put aggression onto Na'Vi, because if they're not able to really jumpstart this game, I feel like Na'Vi's heroes are I just feel like they're better this game.
Speaking of Na'Vi, they feel like their heroes are better at level 1, or at least hoping to put them in a better position, as they've smoked his 5 into the enemy jungle. Ake's going to be out in front, and this could get ugly. Nope, he's staying very safe right at the edge of the steps. Thought maybe he might run out a little bit, but Havos is there, Puppy's there. Havos has not put a point into anything yet, and we'll go ahead and skill Sacred Arrow, and decides to shoot that off. Ake missed by it, and it looks like the rest of them are withdrawing. Dindy's actually swapped onto the Naga Siren, by the way, and Funnick's now on the Queen of Pain. And I think they are going to get aggressive here. Yeah, they're going to run Dindy mid on the Naga and solo safe the Funnick's Queen of Pain. I think this makes a tremendous amount of sense, just because of how effective they're going to be with telekinesis into the arrow. Tree gives you that extra sustain you need in this situation to feel like you can hang and bang a little bit longer, and more importantly, just how weak it's going to feel. But Alliance looks like they're ahead of it. They're going to go ahead and swap. They're moving EGM and Ake now down to bottom with Loda, so they're going to dodge this tri-lane as much as they can. We'll see if Na'Vi wants to swap as well and just run head on into it.
Yeah, and imagine comes down to how fast can Na'Vi sniff this out. Because if they react quick enough, I feel like Alliance is either going to just sit back at their tower and not farm, or they're going to have to switch up again. And here comes a smoke, actually, from EGM and Ake, looking for something. Perhaps they're anticipating the other rotation of Na'Vi, and they want to catch him in that. Or they just want to gank out Dendi here mid. But there's early boots onto Puppey. And again, if he's able to anticipate what Alliance is doing, he can maybe capitalize with, he hits for freaking 85 damage, and now he has boots. So they're not quite sure what they want to do yet. They're waiting for it. Dendi taking a lot of damage from S4. Interesting early game here.
Ake found a good creep. Got a Centaur level 1. Let's see if they want to make a run at it. Dendi's sitting at half health and has no more regen. S4's eating a lot of damage. Here comes Puppey to help out, and they anticipated this perfectly. S4 runs forward. He may end up being first blood. That was so well executed from Na'Vi. They knew it was coming. There's going to be a stomp from the Centaur to turn this around a little bit, at least buy them time to restabilize. But that's just Puppey being so good at knowing the feel of things. He looks around and goes, we're not in lane, they're not in lane. What's the likely target? It's the Naga Siren at half health with no regen. And because of that foresight, they get a first blood.
And it's on Puppey, too, who had only just the boots. So if he wants to get the arc boots up quickly, he's going to have it. He only has... He's only got 300 gold away from that. And one of the great things about bottom tri lanes in the aggressive lane is that if you decide to leave her, she's fine with it. Like, she can hold her own and just do her own thing solo, because it's already a somewhat standard hero in the off lane by herself. So Kuroki doing some side lane pulling here, getting some extra experience. He's going to hit ding level 2. So, yeah, I think this is going to go well for Na'Vi here early on.
Ake and Puppey trading blows, and there's a stomp to buy a little bit of extra time. And looks like, actually, I must have hit a hotkey that was incorrect. I never did switch it to the full in-game plate, and there, now we have. But the first blood worked out quite well. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think whenever I went to switch one of the other things, I must have switched it back. But either way, we are 2.5 minutes in, and Na'Vi in excellent shape. S4's eating more damage out of mid, and they're going to be able to pursue him down. But Dendi able to make it away without taking a single tower shot. But early on, it's 1-0, and Na'Vi continuing to just stabilize and look very good.
Yeah, and even in this bottom lane, like, they started out with this kind of mind game play of putting Loda down there to try to dodge a tri lane, but when you're dodging a tri lane, you're also now facing up basically now it's a 1v1 matchup of Quap versus Tiny. And this is really bad for Loda, because Quap versus Tiny is bad. It's like Quap loves these 1v1 matchups to begin with. Not to mention it's a 1v1 matchup that's a melee versus Quap. So, again, this is what I talked about, is if Na'Vi responds, it's just going to have to be another rotation that they should have started with in the first place. So, unfortunately, Alliance is at the back foot here early on.
Havos came very close to getting a solo kill right there. His arrow ended just pixels short of connecting on Ake. And Bulldog now hooking up with EGM and Loda. There's an arrow. Oh, that actually caught the creep. Barely missing on S4. So Havos twice robbed of very good arrows. And that probably would have been the death of S4 there if he had managed to connect there. So he's beginning to get very active in roam, sitting just short of level 4 now. Kuro at level 3.5, so he's gaining levels very effectively, just level 2.5 on the IO. And Loda sitting just south of level 4 at the moment. But in terms of CS, we can see he's not in the best of shape. He's at just 9 CS. Compare that to Havos 12, and more importantly, to Quap's 16 and the 17 out of Dendi in mid.
Yeah, this is a complete, like, other than the first little couple of waves that Quap had, that now he's completely free farming, left all by himself. Oh, missed a couple CS there, unfortunately. So, but nonetheless, should be fine as far as getting as much farm as he can. And yeah, they've left Havos up here now, and he's trying to roam back and forth and just kind of being a menace, honestly, to the other members of Alliance. And I haven't even really touched too much on Dendi. It's actually relatively early on, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't happening, even though there's one kill. It's a lot of movement and stuff. But Dendi is just having basically free farm in mid as well. He's up to 23, 24 last hits now. Oh, missed that one.
S4, as you can see, playing very defensive. He's almost level 6 now, and if they can gank him, they're going to want to soon. Havos, though, you make an excellent point. He's basically just running pure disruption now, and Ake is actually going to have the creep spotting him out. There's going to be a little bit of right-click damage onto it. He's going to head straight for the tower. But he's doing a lot to disrupt any kind of level gain for Ake, and just basically to keep him stationary. Usually you'll see Ake begin to rotate around and make things happen a little bit more reliably, but he really just hasn't had space to operate, sitting just south of level 3 already. And yeah, there's gonna be an arrow. The stomp's off on the creep. And Ake eating some right click. Yep, there's the leap. He's gonna get him. One more auto attack. Ake looking for some vision. Vision loss around the tree, but unable to do so. Here comes S4. Kuro's going to be there to try and jump him. He is level 6, jumps right on him. They still have the creep. Stomp up in 2 seconds. Here comes IO as well. And the Centaur unable to catch up with him. No, finally they do, as S4 was able to slow him down. Kuro could be in a return kill as well. Dindy rotated through. Bulldogs right there and prompts the Song of the Siren to keep himself safe. And he will be able to make it back to the high ground near his own tier 1. But Alliance grabbing a couple there in return, so it ends up being 2-2 when all's said and done.
Yeah, he just got mana for that, Dendy, with the song, so kind of unfortunate. He was very, very close, and at the very least saving Kuroki, but not able to do so. Now, the good thing for Alliance in the meantime is Loda is free farming. Oh, missing CS right there. A lot of people missing CS this game. I pop into one lane and I see them miss a couple CS. I pop into another lane and see them miss CS. Oh well, it happens, I guess, but kind of unfortunate. Oh, IO killed by a neutral creep right there. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Probably not, but
it was very low. We could see the Alpha Wolf. Very, very low, so maybe getting out a little bit far ahead of it. Doesn't look like he lost a ton of gold, though, so shouldn't be the end of the world. Havos is going to be happy to come clean that up, though, as he'll gladly soak the XP and the gold. But so far, 6.5 minutes in, give or take. Who do you think's winning the early game? I mean, we can look at the graphs and see it's still very close. Na'Vi has a slight edge in gold and experience, but I definitely feel like, wow, looks like there was actually a solo kill onto the Bad Rider, as, yeah, Funnick must have gotten that with a Scream of Pain plus a Shatter Strike. Up at top, we are going to have Loda engaged upon. Puppey right there to jump on top of him. There's a nice avalanche. Now S4 comes back in. They're going to get Kuro for sure. Trying to use the living armor to buy enough time. Puppey could end up being behind this as well. He's got help on the way. That's going to be Funnick. No ulti available. Used it at bottom. Puppey uses his wand charges. Funnick, though, with a big scream. Enough to send them fleeing. Havos has a Sacred Arrow up when he wants to spend it, and they're going to get Puppey behind that after the telekinese. Actually, yeah, never mind. That wasn't... Yeah. Funnick continuing to chase them down and gets the scream off, but another good return. There's going to be the arrow onto S4, but he walks around the corner and right into Loda. So Na'Vi getting very aggressive as they can, but still overextending just a bit, and Alliance able to walk away victors in that. That's going to make it 6-5, and they lost a lot of important heroes there. They did get Loda, but at the same time, they lost ground in both gold and experience, so favorable trade for A.
That was like the definition of overextension. Yep. Those were just completely unnecessary deaths from Na'Vi. Starting off with Funnick blinking in, he got a little eager, saw an opening perhaps, but then that was maybe acceptable, but still kind of bad. But then Havos absolutely died for no reason. Like he should have seen what was coming. He already saw TPs coming in the way. The arrow connected. I don't know if his leap was on cooldown or not, but he wasn't using it, so I'm guessing it wasn't. And just should have backed out completely. So kind of interesting plays there from Na'Vi. Obviously, they're still in a good spot. If you look at just last hits, like Dendy is just free farming. Kuroki, some trouble in mid.
In mid, we can see Kuro. Caught by S4, gets the telekinesis off, and not level 6, so can't steal anything. There's the living armor to keep him alive a little bit, eating his way through the trees. There's an ensnare from Dindy, and Kuro buying enough time, and they end up trading 1 for 1. And S4 did get credit for that kill, did get the gold and the XP before dropping the Dindy. However, feeding Dindy a kill is never a good idea. Bulldogs right there on top of him, not yet level 6, just short of it, actually, and they're going to sleep him. He's at half health. Here comes Funnick, Sonic Wave up in 3 seconds, and let's see if he wants to spin it. There's a Shatter Strike, not even going to need it. Riptide with the Leech Seed. Enough to secure another kill. At top, we can see Alliance is trying to split push around, but the Glyph was deployed. And Funnick, holding on to his ult, might rotate up and try to punish them for this. We can see he and Puppey thinking about it, but looks like, yeah, they're just going to take their time and slowly reset.
Yeah, when you said in mid how the living armor is like saving Kuroki a bit, it saved him a whole shit ton.
Yeah.
Like, it completely mitigated so much damage. Actually, action on to Dandy from S4. He's got a very large mana pool. Might be able to get this kill. The living armor comes out. Look at the damage from the illusions.
Yep.
And S4 has to retreat. Wow.
Courier was way far forward there, too. And there was a moment where it was sitting right in front of him. He didn't take a shot at it. 7-7, though. It's a tight one. Ake, under cover of smoke, has 2 good creeps coming with him. That'll be a Dark Troll Summoner as well as a Centaur. Dindy, no regen. And here comes the relocate. Showed off for the first time. Dindy's going to be saved. Maybe. Nope, there's the net. And they are going to be able to just blow him up in an AoE. Here comes the reaction. That's going to be Funnick. Sonic Wave. Caught 3. S4 trying to jump back on him, but with the Moonlight Shadow up. They need to get out of there right now, and we can see the relocate gets 2 to safety. S4 not so lucky. Havost uses a Starfall. They get S4 in the water, while Havost is able to pursue them out and get a double kill when all is said and done. Almost able to get the Summoner before it could scurry back to base. So Na'Vi loses Dindy, but gets a couple in return. And now they're ready to push the tier 1 down at the same time. Bulldog at level 7, about halfway to his Blink Dagger. They're going to need him to get active very soon. They really need him to catch up some.
That was really well played by Funnick. He jumped in there, and it looks like a tasty, tasty fight for you to take if you're a Quap. He jumps in there, everyone's hooked up and like in the same little tiny 200 AoE.
Yep.
He throws out his ultimate and his nukes. But the thing is if he didn't blink backwards, they could have just turned on him and killed him instantly. And he understood that, and it was just really a heads-up play by him, actually. And just kind of used his abilities, kited him out, and waited for his cooldowns to come back up, and then Puppy was able to come in with the Leech Seed to secure a kill. And then nicely done by Havost as well to get the Starstorm off on 2. So nicely played by Na'Vi.
Na'Vi making up all that ground. Alliance and almost cut it down to even. And off the good play, as you said, of Funnick and the reactions, they get a very nice exchange. Taking a look at Loda, he did end up going Midas, so he's going to be a ways away from his Scepter. Let's see what he's got on the way to him now. Not a whole lot, if anything. It's actually coming into someone else. And they're going to go ahead and try to push the tier 1 mid, tier 1 bottom, or top, excuse me. Could be defended here. They got eyes now on EGM. Dindy's right there with him. There's the ensnare onto him. Not feeling confident about engaging into it. Puppy, the only familiar face there next to him. Is no glyph. They do manage to take the tier 1. Puppy's going to end up getting the overgrowth off, though, and they might want to initiate off of it. Funnick has ultimate up in 20 seconds. There's going to be a telekinesis on the load up, and caught him at the edge of the range. And the, oh, what an amazing relocate to get him back to safety. Io's going to end up dead because of it for sure. But being able to save Loda there, about as big a play as you could ask for out of it.
Yeah, I actually saw he had like 3 seconds left on the tether, and he was just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I believe also the ult from Chen gave enough time for Tiny to live there. If he didn't use it, I feel like Tiny might have died there. So nicely played by Ake, nicely played by EGM as well. We saw from the last engagement at mid, Alliance's lineup does have a lot of potential to actually roll over Na'Vi, but yep. I think they need a few more key item pickups before they do so. Like, namely, they need the mech. They need the mech up on Chen. He's got about 1,000 gold. I wonder if he's going to buy mana boots before the mech. That's kind of interesting. But, yeah, I feel like they're so close and be on the verge to just rolling over with good Chen creeps and a Bat Rider lasso. He's got 200 gold until his blink, too. So if they get the blink up on the Bat, they get a mech up quickly onto Aki. I think they could have the potential to actually start rolling in team fights if they play it correctly.
The problem they're going to have, though, is you already almost have a Relic up on Dindy. So he's not far at all.
That's scary.
From having a Radiance. And he has farmed phenomenally. He's sitting atop the net worth. A lot of that comes down to the good play of Puppy, Kuroki, and, in my opinion, very much so due to Havost, who we saw just running basically the Chaos Maker for Na'Vi, just really not allowing Alliance a lot of room to operate. He might get caught here, though. Funnick's right there with him, gets off the scream, and Havost eats another tower shot. Living Armor's right there with him, and there will be no pursuit. Arrow slightly to the left. And Alliance has to reset and regroup behind their own tower. At top, we can see S4 is split pushing onto the top tier 1. And Bat's going to go and show off the Blink Dagger for the first time. Funnick's a fantastic pick-off for them, as they needed to get him off the map at some point. S4 also manages to bring down that tower at top completely unimpeded. So another big exchange, and things are getting close to even again, as we see cut down from 4,000
top.
Up at top. The arrow onto S4. He doesn't have a whole ton of mana. There's the Living Armor buying him some time, and S4 going toe-to-toe with him and cleans him up one-on-one.
Dodge the Starstorm!
S4 making big plays and hanging despite being caught. So all of a sudden, again, that graph dipping down very, very low, cut to more than half just over the last few seconds. But Loda, to me, is the big question mark. He's got a Midas. What's he going to get next, and how quick's he going to get it? Obviously, the Scepter seems the obvious choice, but he needs it soon before that Radiance comes out.
I would say that he'd probably go drums because he got the Bracer, but I've seen Loda buy Bracers before and just leave it Bracers, buy like 3 more items, and then get drums at 35 minutes. I've seen him do it before. But yeah, no, obviously the Scepter is probably the best thing here. S4, man, what a player. That was such a huge play, and that was honestly a big turn of events. Now, we talk about, Dandy, does he have his Radiance yet? Yeah, a few more 100 gold, so he'll have Radiance soon, but This could be bad, honestly, for Na'Vi. I mean, the items are coming out now for Alliance, slowly but surely. Okay, he's saving up 1,600 gold. And if he gets that mech, I don't know. S4 is really farmed. I feel like, oh, he finds Kuroki, but Dendi's nearby. Should be fine.
Yep. S4 still hanging around a little bit. Dendi's on the low ground, and he will go ahead and jump away. Down at bottom, we can see Loda and EGM once again pushing into this. There's going to be a relocate up the top. They're going to go for this. Funnick in trouble, got off the Sonic Wave, but that was just a death rattle as he drops very, very quickly. Down at bottom, they're going to be sending at least one, if not two back. Puppy's going to be right there to receive EGM. Hand of God going to be used, and he actually got sent home by Chen. That's so sick. Cast the send back before he relocated, and using the Hand of God to secure his passage home. Well played.
This is a fun game to watch.
No joke.
This is entertaining. All right. Yeah, that was a good play by obviously both EGM and Ake. And now it starts to wonder as, you know, I don't like talking about this as the game goes on, but this Wisp is starting to be a really big nuisance for Na'Vi. And as we saw in Game 1, the EGM just played it fantastically, especially when we got to the mid to late game. We're not even quite there yet as we're slowly approaching it. But S4, he's almost got his Orchids. Really good for him. Tower goes down for Na'Vi, so nicely done for them. And yeah, I am also curious. Oh, it is going to be a fast scepter here for Loda.
Yep. Needs to be. As the Radiance is now done on Dendi. So brought it out about 16 minutes. It's not completed on his hero yet, but it is on the way right now, the recipe. Funnick there to scare off S4, take a little bit of free farm. But here we go. There's that Radiance. So 1640 the moment it's completed in his inventory. And now you have tons of questions to answer if you're Alliance. How quickly do you prioritize things like BKB? How much do you want to fight right now? Are you going to try to play gank? Are you going to prioritize Loda? Or excuse me, Dendi? Or are you going to prioritize protecting Loda? We'll see. Bulldog, working on his Force Staff, has about 2/3 of it complete now. And Loda, just with the point booster up right now. Going to take some time for him to really get going.
It is, but we saw what happened in Game 1. Well, I mean, you did. I was kind of messing up a bunch of shit, but yeah, we saw collectively what happened once he got his core items and with a nice lineup behind him. Now they don't have as many heals as they had that one game, but they also do have Chen, and he does finally have his mech now. He can purchase it right now if he wants to. And I feel like if they start grouping up and playing these fights correctly, with again, this is the whole bat issue as we have a Roshan here come out. And I think it was pinged out actually by Alliance. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, they know. Loda pings it out, but it's too late. It's just taking too much damage.
Puppy, by the way, did pick up a Blink Dagger. And that's a really fun pickup for him. It just goes to show you how much they're going to prioritize getting the jump on Alliance. I mean, initiation's always important. You always want as much of it as you can have. But putting that ahead of something like a Mechanism, which they could have had up by now, if he had decided to go that direction, is what makes it a little bit curious. But
I don't know if mech helps them that much.
Oh, never mind. They actually have it. Okay, no. They have it on Ake. I was curious. I was going to say I didn't think Ake had it either, but he does.
Yeah. Oh, were you talking about mech on perhaps Treant instead of the Blink?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if it helps them that much, honestly. I think if Alliance start to initiate a team fight, the mech I think Na'Vi's game plan here, what I'm trying to say is that they need to initiate themselves and burst someone down with like him blinking an overgrowth, arrow, burst someone down, and then use your spells effectively that way. Wait for Naga to do as much, long duration damage as you can in a fight. Because Alliance, I feel like, just have better tools in a team fight right now, especially with big item pickups coming up. Blink Dagger happened about 6 or 7 minutes ago. Mech now online. S4's maneuverability in team fights. So I actually prefer the Blink here over the Mech for Puppy. I think it's a smart pickup for him.
Yeah, I could definitely see it going either direction. We are going to have Moonlight Shadow used by Na'Vi, and mid is being pinged. It looks like most of Alliance is moving in that direction. Up there's Puppy showing off the Blink. Force Staff on Bulldog buys him a little bit of time. Havos is right there, gets the Starfall off, and there's going to be a lasso on Havos. They're going to try to re-engage off this Sonic Wave caught too. Here's S4, but he is interrupted by Dendi. Using the Song of the Siren, has that Aegis up as well, and trying to do a little cleanup job as the rest of Na'Vi retreats, but very fast reactions from Alliance kept that from being much worse than it ended up being. Now they're going to be on the charge. We're actually going to see a jump straight onto Kuro, and there's the relocate as well. Great avalanche caught too. Arrow was there and did catch Loda, but not before the avalanche went off. Havos now trying to make a run for it. EGM's right behind him. He's going to be heading back from whence he came, but the rest of Alliance just going to go ahead and loop back around. Dendi moving on up to the Ancients, and probably needs to be very careful, and he is just going to go ahead and retreat for the moment, bottling up a regen rune on the way. But that's, you know, this is the same thing we saw before. Their reactions are just so good. They have such global presence. S4 with his Orchid up now is such a nuisance to heroes like the Queen of Pain, like the Mirana, and so on, that if Alliance can just get the advantage, and I thought Bulldog, nope, never mind, did have Lasso available.
Yeah, it's cooling down. It's very, very close. He has it up in 2 seconds now. At the very least, Navi's been doing a good job, in particular Puppy, as far as keeping these towers intact. He's constantly using living armor on them to keep them up, and bottom tower is pretty much the same HP. The problem now I see, well, the biggest one for Na'Vi is you have a very, very farmed Naga, and this game is definitely a game. Like, it's going to be, I think, perhaps in the long haul.
Yep.
But not Kuroki, Funnick has like no farm. He had such a great start with early CS against Tiny. And then they left the lane. He had unmitigated free farm, but all he's got is the Ogre Club. Hold up thought.
It's there. On to Loda. EGM's there with him, and they're going to try to chase him down. Dindy might have bitten off a bit more than he needed to. Here comes Savoso, ready to re-engage. Dindy's still up and fighting. Funnick there to join them. They managed to get down EGM, and here comes Ake, sending Loda home, and he will end up trading himself away as Loda makes it home via the Chin Express, but still a couple of big bring downs. They're now going to be able to pressure this tier 2 top at bottom. S4 is going to be there to bring down the tier 1 bottom. So they are trying to get what they can. Bulldog with Lasso available, S4 with the Orchid. Still probably not enough to reliably stop this ensuing push, not with 20 seconds until Chin's back up and 10 until Io's back up. And yeah, Loda's just going to go ahead and go to mid and farm.
Yeah, and this is smart. They know they can't fight it head on right now with the position that they're in. And Bulldog's just sitting behind S4. So if they don't have like mass TPs bottom, if it's just one TP trying to defend, this person, whoever it is going to die. So they're going to need more than one person down here. Here comes just one. Oh, nope. He's changing his mind. There we go.
Avos going to be lassoed. Coming right on top of S4, followed up with the Orchid and a free one there. Dindy came in with the song trying to make something happen. And they did catch Bulldog, but it doesn't look like they're that interested. Yep, the relocate's in. Dindy has to run for it. Behind that, we see Kuro using the toss as best he can, but the real thing, tossing the real hero as Dindy loses the Aegis. Loda's right there with Bulldog, and Dindy in trouble. Funnick comes in, hits a big Sonic Wave, though, and is able to get at least one return kill. He's out of mana now, though, and can't contribute a whole lot more except right clicks. Will have Shadow Strike if he wants to spend it, and nope, doesn't even have to. Had just enough for a scream. Now Loda's going to be cut off by Puppy. Got off the Overgrowth before the Avalanche connected, and the arrow comes in from Havost. Shot from way far back in that jungle. And that ends up being another big win for Na'Vi, even though it looked like it was going to be all Alliance. 16-16, 32 kills in a 22-minute game, and they're split right down the middle. Still very close, however, Na'Vi does hold a bit of an edge, getting up towards 3,000 gold. The experience, though, in favor of Alliance, even that's being cut down on and coming back close to 0.
Really smart play by Puppy, giving him the flank and the cutoff right there. And just not to mention his living armors have been on point. Like,
oh,
they've
for sure.
really been effective this game, and that's one of the biggest reasons why you pick a tree is just being able to save people, and it also kind of jukes out the other enemy team. They think they have an easy kill, they think they're doing lots of damage, then a living armor comes up, and then they have to reassess how much damage they actually really do. And it does throw teams off. Here comes a big initiation from S4 onto Havost.
Yep, jump from the tier 2 just about. And still may be able, nope, not quite able to get him, Havost.
Exactly. Living armor, man.
Yep, able to make it away, and Puppy saving his brother once again. And Dindy now with a Yasha up. Looks like he wants to go man to style. And this is just so close, man. It really is. Like, either team could take any of these fights in big fashion. They can pay each other back if they're slow and retreating. Like, this is just going to be such an unbelievable fun game to watch, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking up the net worth. The one thing that's good for
relocate onto Funnick, who was lassoed by Bulldog. They bring him down. And we'll see if they're going to send Loda back with EGM. He may just go ahead. They're got the retether in just a minute. No, they're going to go ahead and leave him here. And EGM's going to be going back to the other side of the map, right into a couple of Naga illusions as they chase him down. They may be able to burn him down by the time all's said and done. He's able to tether up to a creep, and Ake right there with the mechanism. Great teamwork and great play. As Na'Vi's a little spread out at bottom, they're going to have to decide if they want to account for this tier 2. There's the living armor onto it. No glyph available. They will be teleporting one in. That's going to be the tree. And the tower taking a ton of damage. There's the Overgrowth going to catch 2. Mass TP's coming in off of that. S4 able to jump away. And 4 staff on Loda, however, Dindy's song is there. Has the ensnare ready. We'll see who they spend it on. It's going to be, oh, great arrow on the S4. A little late, but still able to connect on it. They managed to pick him off behind the fight. There's the long-range ensnare from Dindy. He runs forward, gets tossed an avalanche, and Loda is hitting very hard, but not hard enough. As Na'Vi secures 2 return kills and 2 big ones, bringing down S4 and Loda at the same time. That's 18-17 now, and they're going to get things moving back in their direction, and they certainly have. Now up to almost the highest lead in the game. The experience, though, still very close to 0.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a greedy decision there from Alliance to stick around.
Yeah.
They had a really great disengage and good play from EGM and Ake once he came back. But as soon as he came back and the members of Na'Vi saw Alliance still pushing, you saw Havos pinging out bottom, like, let's go, let's go. They don't have 2 members. And they capitalized on that very, very quickly. So nicely played by Na'Vi, but I think Alliance just really overstayed their welcome right there, and they needed to disengage a lot earlier.
Couple of Manta styles coming out for Na'Vi. Dindy has his waiting back at the base. Avost has his already on him. And Dindy just now completes his as he teleports home. Kuro does have a Blink Dagger. Haven't talked a whole lot about that. The value of mobility items for the Rubik can't be underestimated. But the Tier 2 still standing. Tier 2, bottom, and mid are both still up, while Na'Vi maintains a 2-towered lead. And really, you know, if they can get Funnick back on track, he's got his BKB, which is certainly going to be nice, but as of right now, he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's nowhere near a Scythe of Ice, and he's not really contributing a whole lot else. I mean, even if he had something underway like a Lincoln Sphere, at least you could throw the Lincolns on one of your heroes if you need to, but as for now, not the case. There's going to be a smoke, though, as they look to catch out S4. This will be tough to execute. They got him with the lift, and the overgrowth there, and they burst him down immediately. They're going to just take off down mid lane, and Alliance going to have a hard time fighting without S4.
Absolutely. Here comes a potential backstab. Does he have a buyback? He does.
Yep.
Yeah, buyback.
Lasso onto Kuro, dragging him back. There's going to be Funnick popping the BKB. There's the overgrowth as well. Chim pops the Hand of God as they try to pursue out EGM to the high ground. Havos heading that way as well. They will be able to catch him out, but behind that, they bring down Puppy. That's a 1-for-1 trade so far. S4 bought back, as you mentioned, slowing down his progression a bit, but allowing them to maintain the tower. They're not done, though. They find Kuro tucked up near the dire side secret shop and kill him off. Over in the jungle, 20-19. Na'Vi forcing a buyback. You can consider that a bit of a win because all they lost were their supports.
Yeah, not bad. At least they were able to get something. But Alliance, the problem, it still stands, though. Dandy is farming out of his mind. His net worth is almost 5K over of that of the top one for Loda.
Yep.
And it's just going to continue to get worse. S4 trying to find initiation on the Dandy. He does have his 30-second cooldown song. Or not 30-second, but 60-second cooldown song on this Siren, level 3.
Yep.
Here we go.
Loda going to be sent home, going to turn around and do what damage he can. But, okay. Getting off the send-off before they could catch up with him. And Na'Vi regrouping once again. Taking a look at the Roche Pit, we can see he is up. And that might be their decision. We'll see if that's where they want to go. Arrow shot behind things. Will catch nothing but a creep. And they are moving back down towards bottom. That bottom tower in very rough shape. Loda's going to be there. If Loda shows his face, he shouldn't be showing his face anytime soon, though, as the creeps are quite far ahead. And yeah, they're going to go ahead and at least flirt with the idea of taking a Roche. And S4 is going to go ahead and split push top at the same time.
Yeah. This is just starting to get scary because, like, Denny was farming really well from the get-go. Don't get me wrong. But it seems like in the last 5 minutes, it's just absolutely skyrocketed. And that's what happens when you have heroes with illusions, because once you get more farm, those illusions farm even faster themselves. Aegis goes to Havost, so that will be good for him. But yeah, his farming capabilities are just ridiculous at this point. He has 260 CS.
Yep. His GPM is actually right at almost exactly 150 more GPM than Loda. Dindy's going to spot Bulldog here. There's going to be the immediate lasso, so the reaction coming in is relocate.
Ooh, nice.
Right place at the right time. Rather be lucky than good sometimes. We've got Ake being pursued by Havost in the meantime. He's used his Manta style. And Ake throwing the net out, not going to matter. One last auto attack, all it took. And Loda was on the way in case they needed him. But they end up going 1-for-1. Shen for Naga, still a win for Alliance there.
He actually almost lived. If you saw his clicking, the activation on his ult just came up and you could see it actually being cast.
Oh,
but he wasn't able to get. Yeah, it was so damn close. But unfortunately for him.
Grab on EGM. Radiant side jungle, trying to be cute. That's not your jungle, EGM. It's Navi's, and they're not happy about you being there. As he biffs it and takes a hard ride back to the fountain. 22-20. Alliance losing 2 heroes very quickly. And Na'Vi is actually crossed back over in favor of experience. Very, very negligible 30 minutes into this game. But the gold is getting it to the point it's not. 7,500 for him is huge, especially when 5K of that is basically built on the strength of Nagasire. She is so far ahead.
Do you see this stat on Naga? Holy crap. That's insane.
Yep.
Finishes all the time with over 600 GPM. Crazy, but also believable, I guess. It's a hero that farms out of control, and Dendy's doing the same here. Has his bots, has his Manta. How much gold does he have as well? Another 3,200, so... Possibly a Diffusal, possibly a Butterfly. I mean, obviously the whole shop is his oyster, so going to be a good game for Dendy. But again, Loda, he's starting to get a lot of farm himself. His net worth is 13,000, so good in its own right.
And it's actually going to be straight tank. Picks up a Reaver. Finally, that mech comes out for Puppey. So just because he wanted the Blink Dagger first doesn't mean he didn't want a mech at all. Dendy picking up the Reaver, and one would imagine it'll be on the way to a Heart. And I don't blame him. The Radiance damage is doing his job right now. They're going to end up probably forcing a BKB out of Lotus sometime soon, although he does have the plate mail on him already. So very likely to be something like an Assault Cuirass. Going to be prioritized ahead of that. They may collapse on Alliance here as they move under. It's going to be double smokes. As Alliance has a couple, they're going to end up being caught in the back here. And Kuro and Puppey are both there. Puppey's going to lead the way using Nature's Guise. The rest of Alliance is here, or excuse me, of Na'Vi is here. And Alliance could lose a couple of very key heroes here if they're not real careful.
They have to fight. They have to fight or everyone's dead.
Yep, and here we go. There's the Overgrowth. Got all three. Funnick, though, was disjointed by the stomp off of the Shin Creep. Sonic Wave only caught one. They're going to try to turn around with the mechanism. There's a lasso onto Funnick, dragging him back out of the fight. Here comes Savos and Loda just chopping wood at this point. They do manage to bring down two right off the bat, but Loda is big enough. He might be able to get some payback. They get the Aegis off of Favos, but he does drop by the time all's said and done. So they trade 3 for the Aegis. And they're not done. Bulldog actually will be able to get away. Thought they might be able to catch him, but didn't know exactly where he went. That's going to be a BKB pickup on Bulldog as he makes it home safely. But another big win for Na'Vi.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that tipping point, man, where
it is.
Naga's just getting way too much farm. She's doing way too much damage, and now with the Heart coming up soon, she's going to be that much harder to kill. Puppey also has a mech also after the Blink, which is going to be good for him. You have a living armor to work with. You have Kuroki doing his things on Rubik with disjoining or lifting whoever he needs to, stealing. The spells aren't that great to steal, but they also killed Chen before he was able to get his Hand of God off, which isn't the hugest deal, but it definitely makes a difference. And I feel like Alliance, their game plan needs to be with the Bat Rider and Storm Spirit, I think. They need to pick off 1 or 2 heroes, even just one hero before a fight starts. That's their strength of the lineup, at least right now, until Loda gets more farm.
Taking a look at S4, he seems to be working on a BKB. BKBs really are going to be the name of the game for Alliance, and this is kind of what we had mentioned before is, you know, you see that Radiance come out as early as it did. Those items need to be prioritized. Even though Ensnare does go through, just being able to cope with that damage. I mean, Queen of Pain right now is finally on her way to a Scythe of Ice, and actually is going to have it up relatively soon, which is impressive in its own right. But
wow, very soon, yeah.
Yeah, like I thought he was going to be much further behind. But how about a little chat trivia? What player has the most wins on Nagasire in 6.80 Pro Dota? 2 with a 9-3 record and a downright ridiculous 702 GPM. I think we have an inkling on that one, so I'm not even going to say it. Just going to see if the chat can guess it, because I'm sure they can. And a little bit of a tip in the title of that coming out from Nahaz. So GG Nahaz, GG.
Yeah, but no, I agree. Funnick now with the Scythe is, it's going to be so good, because S4 has been working for the longest time for this BKB, but now if the Scythe comes out, he's just going to be kind of screwed in team fights. And you know that he's going to be focusing him, too, because that's the most maneuverable and does the most damage right now. Oh, this could be a counter bait coming out.
Relocate comes in. There's Dindy. Arrow. Oh! Arrow! Bad timing from Dindy on the song. If he had waited for the arrow to connect, might have been a little bit better. They are going to still try to follow it up. Here comes Kuroki coming right on in, and they relocate. Manages to get them back home. And Havost. Go ahead.
I don't know why Dendy waited so long. The time was ticking with Wisp.
Yep.
If he just disengaged that, killed Wisp, then Tiny would have nowhere to go. That was very questionable play, in my opinion.
Maybe trying to do something funky timing-wise.
Maybe he was trying to deliberately wait for Wisp to go away so they could solo kill someone, but they didn't do that. So
Lasso on the puppy, drug back to Loda, who's waiting with him. There's try to get the never mind. I thought he was gonna try to overgrowth, but Havost teleporting in, gonna look to punish him. There's the ensnare, locking Loda down. Can they get the arrow off? He actually guessed he was going to run and guessed wrong. There's going to be Hand of God as Loda continues to try and fight this out, but he's burning the death from that burn damage on the Naga. They're going to get him. Loda, force staff, one last auto attack, not enough. BKB going to be used on Bulldog as he's trying to do anything to save his teammates. Here comes S4. They're going to punish Dindy for this, and Loda's still alive. Comes back in with the avalanche, and that's a huge kill. Havost uses the ulti. BKB up on S4. They have no detection for Havost right now, even though he has 7 stacks of sticky napalm on him. The rest of Na'Vi trying to follow up. Funix at full health and trying to rejoin with them. He ended up dying at top and is back off a fresh rebuy. There's an arrow shot towards where they thought S4 was going to be after the invis, but did not connect. At the end, though, Na'Vi sits at 26 to 23 in terms of kills, and they did level off the gold a little bit there, did Alliance, but still double-digit lead, or 5-digit lead, I should say, excess of 12,000 in favor of them.
Too easy for RTZ as he takes that stat. Yep.
Easy.
No, this just goes to show you the team play of Alliance, especially when they have multiple healers on their team for Tony. As Tony's able to live so long. Oh, relocate bottom. Funnick, he's getting caught out by a bat.
Dunskies. And Funnick is just the whipping boy right now, as they're having his way with him.
Yeah, but Tony, like, I keep saying Tony now because the damn chat, man. But Tiny is just like, he's so tanky if you have Wisp and people to support him and multiple heals. And like you said, I thought for sure he was dead, but a really, really nice heads-up force staff. I believe that was Admiral Bulldog's force staff. Yeah, really good job by keeping him. They were constantly still healing him with Wisp, but he needed to be out of range of, as you mentioned, the Radiant Spur, not to mention just auto attacks in general. So really nicely played by Admiral Bulldog there.
Loda's getting very large. BKB is done. Followed up the Assault Cuirass. And looks like they're ready to just go ahead and start pushing. Now, this is where things get real chancy. And you always hit a point in the game if it goes this late against a Tiny. If you're at all slow in reacting, if you're at all out of position, especially with an IO, he's just going to take every building you own. And you can't lose fights anymore. If you lose fights and Tiny survives, especially if there is an IO up, he's going to take buildings. And that's just how that's going to be. So Na'Vi has to tighten up a little bit. They have to stop giving away these free kills. It's going to get only worse from here. And S4, BKB up of his own, 1,500 gold in the bank. Funnick, still working on that damn Scythe of Ice.
His farm seems to like go up, and it's like peaks and valleys here for him. It's either taking forever or he starts skyrocketing and getting 5,000 gold per minute. But here comes a Pada multi here, looking for something. He does have a gem on him. Not that it really matters that much, but yeah, has a gem. I was like thinking, I was like, maybe there might be Invis Heroes Alliance. Who knows?
You never know. Here we go. Dindy's right there. Oh, this is a big pick if they can get Loda. EGM's pursued out by Havost behind the fight. Funnick's there forcing out the BKB. They're going to turn and try to fight this out. Dindy's so damn tanky, though, with that hard up. And they're spreading the damage out. There's going to be a mech. This is like a boss fight. It's taken so long and so much personnel, but they do get him. With that BKB up, that's seriously how it felt. You had your aggro heroes. You had trying to kite him around, and he just kept getting bigger and bigger and angrier. But now, finally, Scythe of Ice is done on Funnick, and they're ready to push on in. 28 to 24. Na'Vi with quite a big lead, and that's going to be a buyback on Io. In the meantime, does Loda have buyback? He does not. That's a huge consequence. 55 seconds until he's back in the fight. EGM trying to use the spirits. Dindy shrugging it off. There's an ensnare onto him. Oh, Bulldog comes in. And wow.
Kuroki stole the toss and tossed him back. What a play by Kuroki.
That's so sick. And now with him down and Loda down, yep, I agree. And here comes EGM trying to do what he can. Ern keeps him alive just at the back of it, but they're losing buildings left and right. And Na'Vi looks to have taken this one with a little bit of style. As there's a buyback finally on Bulldog. Still 20 seconds till Loda's back up. They will glyph it to buy as much more time as they can. Lasso's still available as Bulldog tossed out of position by Kuro. Still can't get into position. Now here we go. They're going to come back in. Bulldog going to be Scythe of Ice. As soon as he came in, though, there's the overgrowth. And now S4 next to dive. Loda is going to be up in 2 seconds. Funnick's going to track down the kill on S4 and a scream just to let him know he means business. S4 right back up and coming back out, though. And yeah, looks like he might have the same face. There's the big boy, though, Loda. Telekinesis, can they keep him under control? Pops his own BKB, and Havos able to kite him out. And the rest of Na'Vi looks like they might vacate shortly. Maybe not. Dindy says to hell with it. Come fight me. As the BKB now on cooldown, and that's very difficult for Loda to come back in. That's one set of racks remaining now. That's bottom. Loda comes on back out, and it's going to be Sight Device. Burning down an S4 once again back up and trying to bounce around. There's a nice avalanche toss. Dindy in trouble. Havost chasing him down with Kuro. S4's down for the count this time. 95 seconds. Dindy taking a lot of damage from Loda, but Loda eating some as well. EGM might end up burning to death, and they do bring down Loda finally, or Dindy finally. Loda manages to get the kill, but coming back in Havost, along with Funnick, takes him down and forces the buyback. Tier 3, chipped away at. He's the only one still up, and it looks like they're not scared. Dindy right back up and back into the fight because of the boots of travel. He's going to be scythed again by Funnick. Kuro sitting right at the edge. Has toss if he needs it, but they're just kiting him. Blink by Funnick. And here comes Ake doing what he can, but it doesn't matter. Loda just can't overwhelm the swarm, and that's it. GG. What a conclusion, what a series, and what a win for Na'Vi.
Amazing. It was a really fun game to watch. And, you know, the supports, they don't get enough love. They don't put out the biggest numbers. They're not the ones putting the team on their back, so to speak, but I gotta give so much credit to Puppy and Kuroki. Like, Puppy was just on point the entire game with his living armor. Every turn. Like, someone's gonna initiate it on, instantly puts the living armor, constantly using on the towers to keep them up. That mid tower stood up for Na'Vi for like ever. Yep. It was up almost the entire freaking game. And then Kuroki with amazing plays on Rubik, stealing spells when he needed to at the most. The amazing toss back onto Admiral Bulldog, and then right after that, he was just like, you know that as he's playing Rubik, he's just watching, constantly watching for the best spells to be taking.
Yep.
And I said that this wasn't exactly the best game for spell stealing, but he still made it work because he took toss, which was great, and immediately after Chen cast Hand of God, he took that as well. Cast and immediately healed up his team. So, yeah, again, these support players from Na'Vi, Puppy and Kuroki, are just playing phenomenally.
Without a doubt. And Havost, again on the Mirana, so disruptive early and such a playmaker late. Had a few wayward arrows, but none of that matters whenever you post 14, 4, and 11, involved in 25 and 37 kills. And again, just what he was able to do to disjoint any kind of development for Ake in particular early, but for Alliance early as well. Loda was big by the end, but is it, like, seriously, man, I don't know that I've ever seen it in such stark contrast, the way they dealt with him. It really was like watching a boss fight in an MMO. Like, they just kited him so effectively. He kept going between target to target, and they just could not overcome them. He could not catch up with him, especially with half of his team missing. And that big toss again by Kuro really put a kink into things for Alliance, and I'm just grinning ear to ear. This kind of game, this kind of day, and what a hell of a series. We're going to have a doubleheader coming up tomorrow, but I'm not even that worried about that. We just casted this, and I want to go back and watch the replay already.
It was a lot of fun to watch. Definitely. Especially this last game. It was just back and forth. It was kind of like you couldn't really predict either way. It could have gone, honestly, either way. Obviously, I think Na'Vi felt a little bit better just with, you know, Naga having the amount of farm that he had. But, I mean, we saw Tiny. He can get out of control. But they were, as you mentioned, able to contain him. And when they killed off the supports, when he didn't have heals to back him up, like Chen and Io connecting up with him, he honestly wasn't as effective as he could have been. So, yeah, well played by Na'Vi.
41 minutes, 2 seconds. Na'Vi gets payback for their loss earlier in Dream League and gets it with style. Taking a look at, net worth, the way it finished out, Naga was ridiculously far ahead in terms of overall farm. And, I don't know. I'm just happy. This was such a fun series to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed it at home as well. It's been an absolute blast. Our lone best of 3 of the day, but worthwhile. Certainly worth the price of admission. And looking ahead to tomorrow, we do have another doubleheader on the way. I'm not going to be going on camera again, as mentioned before. We have those weird red flash things have been continued to plague us, so we're just going to try to bring you the action as clearly as possible. Sans overlay. At least we caught it early that time, so apologies for that. You missed the first blood, but not a whole lot else after that. But all in all, great win for Na'Vi as they put themselves in a great position. If I'm not mistaken, that means they have 1 series left to play, and that puts them at 5-1 right now. So they're really in great position to charge for a 1 seed. Alliance takes their another loss. They're sitting at 1-3 with 3 series left to play in the Western Challenge. So they're going to have to get things together quick, fast, and in a hurry if they want to challenge for a high seed. But D2L Western play will only have a couple of play days this week. It'll be tomorrow with a doubleheader. Then we have 1 series on Thursday. Don't know that we're going to have any more. The schedule's still kind of open. Just the way things have worked out with certain teams going to certain tournaments and Star Ladder, obviously, we're working as hard as we can to avoid conflicts anywhere and to make sure the teams aren't having to do weird stuff and play from weird places. So we'll be updating the schedule every day with the Reddit posts and all that, and of course getting it into the hands of Team Liquid, Ghost of Gamers, and Join Dota and all of those guys. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that. We will probably be playing at least another week from this week, so next week we'll also have matches, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how we can make the schedule jive out. So just make sure you keep an eye peeled on all of your match ticker websites for all that. For now, though, on behalf of myself and Trout, I want to thank you again for being a part of the show and hope you'll be back tomorrow. And a special thanks to you, man. Glad we got everything lined out. It was a day of problems. Started out with red flashes, then Skype crapped out, then I had the overlay up for 2 minutes. But you know what? Sometimes Dota's just good enough that all those things kind of stop mattering. So long as we got to see the match, I'm happy. Yeah, and shout out to the viewers. I just looked, and obviously people are leaving now because the game is out, but 60K plus? Yep, 63 is what I'm seeing on my side. Awesome. Shout out to all you guys. Much love. Fun day of Dota. All right, before we head out the door, I want to remind you once again, regarding updates of schedule and everything else, you can find them on Twitch and on Twitter as well as Facebook. Twitter.com/D2LGG, or on Facebook if you're a Facebook kind of person, Facebook.com/D2LGG. So make sure you follow both of those and get your daily updates and the such. And you can follow Trout and myself on Twitter as well. I'm at AC at AYESEE. And he's Trout at TralfDota at TRALFDOTA. Anywhere else you'd like him to check out, my friend? Just my Twitch. When I finally start streaming again, it's www.twitch.tv/Trout. So, everyone I know, myself included, is, quote, going to start streaming soon, I promise. Exactly. Close quote. But make sure you do check him out, as Trout's really enjoying casting with you, man, and I'd love to watch you play sometime. Yeah, and if I do, I always write on Twitter, too, if I'm in a stream. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll be able to find that out. So yep, we hung around long enough that it actually kicked me out of the game. Hell with you. I guess we're going home. Thanks again, guys, and you can check me out on Twitch and a variety of other places under the name ACTV. So again, doubleheader coming up tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Until then, enjoy your morning, evening, or afternoon, and enjoy some Dota.